Cantrell from Ada.
Tony Weaver, Weaver Energy Corporation.
Yes, good to meet you. I'm here in Hennessy today just talking to oil and gas producers, real live Oklahomans that pay their taxes and send their kids to public schools. And I know there's a problem up here of frac jobs, horizontal frac jobs, demolishing or diminishing vertical wells. And it's, we've been told by the Corporation Commission there's only 13 wells that have been damaged, and I know that's not true. And so we're trying to work on legislation to curtail this at least. And I just want to know your story. Tell us what your story is.
What I'd like to say is I want to try to be very fair with these large oil companies because we're in the same business, same industry. We've been watered out. Our partners were getting oil and gas. We've been watered out probably 35 wells total. Have interest in most of those. We've had companies come in and just flat rollovers, not want to work with us. I'm talking about wells that have been watered out. We've had some that have come in here and they'll have a rig over the hole or be in a bind, and then they'll kind of work with you. We've got some agreements in place, a pre-approved price. If they water our well, they pay for it. We have had one or two that have done that. They've watered out and they've paid us. Now we don't care for the price, but we get what we can get. So we have had some that's watered us out, paid for us. We've had some other companies that we have some agreements in place that if they impact our wells, they'll come and help with expenses. Or we'll send it to an engineer to get values on it. Those are yet to be tested. But some of these companies that's done that, when they're in a bind or need something, they'll work with you. Now going forward, we're not having any success getting them to sign these agreements. So, and we've had others that's drilled offset wells. We've contacted them, and they have actually paid us damages on those wells.
Have you had any horizontal units placed over your vertical units?
What we'll have is we'll have an 80 or 160 within the 640 spacing.
Right.
And we've been watered out. We've got some agreements. We've allowed them to come within 400 feet. Our wells are wiped out. But I know statutory is 600. My very first experience, we went down to the commission. We really tried to fight this at first. It was all new. And we went down and I went to the commission with my attorney, and the technical committee said, there's no way it's going to water out your wells. The company we're dealing with said there's no way it's going to water out your wells. And lo and behold, several of our wells got watered out. And we made trips, negotiated, try to get something done.
So did they do any of that in a hearing, or was that just in?
No, this was all done before. Here's the issue we run into. We are small operators. We don't have attorneys. We don't have landmen on staff. We're mostly family operated companies. The time, effort, and energy. The last 2 to 3 years, I used to be out growing a business, following pumpers around, following rigs around. I do legal work, land work, protest. We're constantly protesting. We've been somewhat successful with the protests. It's cost us a lot of money, but we've been able to get some better lease bonuses as opposed to what we would get on a pool. And you mentioned fracking. I know these companies are required by law to frack us, so sometimes they don't assume they're going to frack into us. They have to do it by law. But anyway, and these things are so obvious. Our wells are producing. We shut them in. We go to bring them back on, and they're dead. We shouldn't have to spend a lot of time, a lot of documentation proving them. When your well's producing one day, they're fracking the next day, the next week they're gone. Or these little plunger lift wells, we'll wait 2, 3, 4 weeks, let them build some pressure, then try to bring them on.
So they, no, go ahead.
What I was going to say is we've had wells totally watered out. Some over a long period of time have come back. Some of them we spent a lot of money on. Swabbing these wells, especially wells we have to swab.
Do any of them come back like they were?
I've not had one that's come back better. I've heard wild tales every now and then that someone will come back better. But we have some that are half, maybe 2/3. We've got some that are still dead.
Well, even if they come back better, they're getting into reserves that you had.
Well, yeah, of course, when these things are done, as I've stated, we have correlative rights. Normally back where these were done is I have a 160 lease, I have rights to the fluid under my lease. Well, what is done is they're concurrent spacings. So now I can't stop them. I have my well bore here. Even if they don't damage me, we're competing for these same reserves. So they talk about correlative rights, protecting each other's rights, and I know the commission wants to adequately drain fields. You don't want to overdrill, you don't want to underdrill. But when you're coming in here and we actually own the leasehold, have the acreage, and our rights are taken away. When we get impacted from an offset, then our well goes dead, it's no longer paying quantities, we lose the lease or the right to lease it. We've lost our production, we've lost our lease, we've got no lease bonus, we have nothing but a dead well.
Right.
And there are some circumstances where we'll have well bore only, and we only have the rights to the well bore, and we can't do anything, we have no records to negotiate, and, you know.
So the 600-foot offset that the commission has in their rules hadn't helped you at all?
No, that's really not at all. Anybody who's been around knows that's not realistic at all. Like I said, I've had some 300 feet off of the east line that have gone all the way across the west side and hit a well about a mile away. And those wells, they sputtered, stammered, and mile and a quarter and came back. But these wells closer have been just flat wiped out.
Right. So if you had your choice, and like say if you were in Texas where they can't force pool anybody, they couldn't put that horizontal over you if you didn't want them to.
Yeah.
If you had your choice, would you just say, I just want to keep what I got?
Well, obviously from our point of view, yeah, I mean, that's our whole deal. I mean, I realize the world changes. I would love to just leave us alone, let us produce our well, let us make a living. But we're losing wells right and left, and we're losing production, and we have family in the business, and they're very, very concerned about their job, bank notes to pay, and you can't go out and buy a well. You go and spend $300,000 or $500,000 for a well. 2 months later, you get notice, somebody comes in and wipes it out, and you've got a bank note, and no way to pay for it. So we can't grow. And you just sit back and you watch your reserves going down every day. And
Well, when you book those reserves, is that as collateral against your bank?
Absolutely, yeah.
So when those go away,
And
that's,
so the banks come calling and
yeah,
want to know what's going
it's an
on.
issue.
So,
Got it. Well, I appreciate your help.
Yes, sir.
Very much. I'm sorry what's happening.
yeah, we hate it, but we're trying to make the best of it, but it's not good.
Okay. We'll do what we can.
Yeah, thank you.